All right, guys, so I got the car pretty much ready to spray the primer. I've done all the patch panel work and everything that needed to get done. So let's go ahead and mix up some primer and then we'll start shooting. Just ignore the tape job. It's nothing to protect the inside or anything like that. It's just I've got some stuff that's in there, like the exhaust. I don't really want to get too much overspray on. I don't care if it gets a whole lot, but because the whole thing's going to get polished. And then the wheels, don't really care about the wheels. I'm more just protecting the brakes. So, all right, let's get mixing some primer. All right, guys. So, high build primer's on. Came out nice. You can see I'm super dusty. Been sanding all day, but yeah, let's show you guys a walk around of the high build. So you can see we did door jams. Got all that stuff taken care of up to about here. So the plan is everything forward of this is pretty much going to be undercoat. So, and then, you know, anything past the fender line is going to be paint. But I want everything underneath panels, so underneath the rear bumper and stuff, that's all going to be undercoat. Yeah, the roof looks pretty straight. Real happy with how that turned out. So yeah, looks good. Like I said, all this under here is going to be undercoated also. So let's get to undercoating some stuff and then we'll start block sanding. Okay guys, so here's the guide coat. So pretty much what this is it's a darker substance, so that way I can see sanding scratches, I can see low spots, high spots, stuff like that. Because whenever the panel's all bright like that, it's kind of hard to see. So what I'm doing with this is I have my block sander here, and I've just got some 320 on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand in a crosshatch pattern. So just like this. And what that's going to do is make sure that everything's level. I'm going this way and I'm going this way. Now, we're going to be sanding with a crosshatch pattern pretty much from here on. There is no more circular sanding, no more of anything other than crosshatch. And this is going to be all the way until you know, we get up to 3,000 grit and we're actually polishing. So to give you guys a demonstration here, we'll just take our block. I've just got the small block for right now, but you use the biggest block that you can for the panel. So if you've got a big straight piece, you want to use the big long block. And if you've got a contoured piece, you can use the rounded blocks. So just so you guys can see, we'll go like this. And then down. So you can see we're removing that guide coat. Now, if we look, you can see right here and down here, there's still guide coat. And what that shows me is that those are small scratches that we have to get out. And the only way to get those out is going to be through sanding. And so this guide coat is really paramount if you're trying to get a dead level panel and you want to make sure that it's straight. And if we paint this car, you know, black or gray or anything, we want to make sure that the reflection is as straight as can be. So this, I mean, if you're trying to go cheap, you don't have to do this step really, you know, but you will see that in the finished product. And 90% of your paint is right here. It's all in the prep work. So take your time and make sure you're doing this. The whole car is going to get this whole guide coat system. So they sell it in the powder like I have. They also sell it in an aerosol that you can spray on and sand off. And then they also make a filler. It's a primer. I think what's the company that makes it. I can't remember their name, but it sprays on pink, and then as you sand it, it becomes white. Kind of cool, but this is just the old way of doing it, and I like this way. So we're gonna keep doing this. If you're in a pinch and you need something cheap, you can always use like matte black rattle can and just dust it on there. It kind of does the same thing, but not as well. So only if you're in a pinch and only if you're like on a super budget. But yeah, we're gonna keep block sanding this thing. So. All right, so there's that panel block sanded to 320. I know what some of you guys are probably thinking, oh no, I took the primer off, and that's okay. I would rather take the primer off and respray primer than have imperfections. I'm not trying to have any imperfections in this thing. And the primer, it is a primer, but it's also a stage of body filler. With it being such a high build primer, I'm still in the shaping process. I'm not in the, get it ready for base coat process. So the whole purpose of this is to smooth out. It's body filler that I can spray out of a paint gun, pretty much. So that's the purpose of this. And then what you can kind of see, let me show you guys a little bit, is like over in here, you can see some sanding scratches. And these are left over from when I was sanding everything, and I was using the 60 grit. And what happens is I just missed a spot when I was sanding. I didn't hit this with the 120 and the all the way up to 320. I didn't quite hit that well enough. And then there's a few other spots, but the thing is that you can't see these unless you're using this guide coat. This guide coat really shows you where you're missing, and you want to use this in between pretty much every step, because it's going to show you, I missed a spot right here when I was transitioning from this grit to this grit. That way you know that you're not missing any pieces at all. But I mean, where it's smooth, it is smooth. All up in here, that feels real nice. So, and that's just with 320. The plan is to go up to 600 once I lay the final primer on. It's going to be at a 600 grit before color even goes on, so that'll just give me the finish that I'm looking for. But you can see that one spot right here, this is where we blended in, and it just didn't, there's just a high spot right there. So that guide coat really sticks in to those low spots. And anywhere that the paint is off pretty much was a high spot. So the whole purpose is just to make sure that it's nice and flat. And if you see, when you're sanding, if you see like little circles like that, this is where you missed a step when you were machine sanding. So these being straight scratches, these are when I was hand sanding everything. So that's my mistake there. I want to show you guys the mistakes and the positives. So, but yeah, we're just going to keep working. This is the long and tedious process of block sanding. This is what's going to take the longest, but I mean, it is going to pay out over a long run. And when you take it to a car show and it's that straight, people are going to notice. This isn't something that you can just keep putting on coats of paint and more coats of clear and get it to work. This is where the labor is. This is why paint jobs cost so much. So yeah, let's keep block sanding. I don't know if I'm going to film the whole process of all the block sanding, but when I lay some more primer and we start doing multiple coats, there's probably going to be 3 sessions of high build on here. So yeah, That's going to be my life for a while. And it's very dusty, it's very time consuming, and it takes a lot of sandpaper. So the primer that I've got, it kind of clogs up the sandpaper that I'm using. So maybe I'll swap out to another high build primer and just kind of toss this one. But yeah, let's get block sanding. Alright guys, so that panel is down to the 320. So let's go take a look at it. This one came out a little bit better than the other side. It's not as much that we're gonna have to do. Super smooth. A little bit up right there. Same thing where that blend was. So we'll have to reblend that, so just a little bit more body filler. I did see a little hole there from one of the rivets that used to be there, so I just need to do some short strand there, and right there, there's 2 little pinholes. I could just use Bondo over that. I mean, it's small enough, but since the panel's fiberglass, I want to stick with the fiberglass. Right there on this transition too, you can see there's a low spot, and then looks like right there also. But man, is it smooth. Roof looks real good. Really good. So next step is going to be putting filler on everything that needs filler still. Just a light little bit that it needs. Up here in the sail panel, feels like there's a high spot right there. So I'll just take my little body hammer and tap that and make sure that that's taken care of. And then yeah, just do these little pieces that I got to touch up there, and then after that, another coat of primer. So we'll use we'll probably use the same primer for this, and then block sand all that off, because this is it's not as expensive as the other high fill that I got. So, but if you run into an issue where like you can't get a block down here, you can use your hand. Just be mindful of keeping it flat. You know, use one finger across there, because you don't want to use 4 fingers, because then you're leaving impressions where you're heavier on certain fingers. So you don't want to use that. So you can do that, or you can use like green Scotch-Brite pads. Those work out real well too. So if you've got like super hard contours, that's what I'm going to do for the door panels, is just Scotch-Brite them, because I mean, they don't have to be as show quality as the body of the car. So we'll just Scotch-Brite those up and get those ready for the next few coats. And then yeah, once this next coat of primer is on, sand that one back down, and then probably a third coat of a nicer polyester high fill primer, and then block sand that, and then we'll be ready for the base coat. So gotta hurry up and decide what color I want to do this thing. Now I'm thinking like a gunmetal gray, maybe with a gold flake. I don't know, lots of options, lots of colors. But yeah, let's do some Bondo stuff. Just the light bit that it needs, wait for that to cure, sand it down, and then should be able to spray another coat of primer tonight. there's the repairs that needed to get done. Those are all blocked out. So what I recommend for those is when you're getting rid of the body filler, you can use the 60 or the 80 grit. Just be mindful that you're gonna have to step back up and grit. That way the panel all matches, because you want everything to match. So let's take a look at these repairs. So you can see everything's looking all smooth now. I'm still gonna hit it with the guide coat again, and then go over all of it one more time. I think I might run into an issue right there. Feels like a low spot, but I went ahead and hammered this out, so this is all smooth now. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, one more time I'm just gonna block one more with 320 just to make sure that I've got everything. Like I said, I feel like right there's not as smooth as it could be. And sometimes that happens with the body filler. You might run into a spot where it's just not cured as much as it needs to be. So it'll like kind of flake off. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stop this video here. And I mean, you guys get the idea. It's pretty much just prime, sand, block sand, prime, over and over and over again. But I did get some work done up here. So all of that is now undercoated. And then I went ahead and undercoated inside the where the wiper arm assembly goes, because water gets down in there and I'm not letting this thing rust ever again. So yeah, I think this is gonna be it for this video. Seems like a good stopping point. So hopefully you guys like this. Share it, subscribe it, do the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one.